This course video will walk you through details on your CBM assignment. This is what your syllabus has recorded for your CBM project. I do want to clarify a few points though. First of all, you will need to create a free online account on easycbm.org in order to have access to the CBM probes. I will show you at the end of this video how to go about doing that. You then need to choose one student. It can be a friend, relative, neighbor, anybody in the K through 8 age range or grade range that you can administer these probes to. You're going to administer 2 math probes and 2 reading probes of your choice. And I'll go through how to best choose which one you do based on the age of your student. That will vary based on whether or not you have a kindergarten or 8th grader. You will then write a 1-page summary of the student's present level of performance, and this will include both content areas, math and reading. So some of you contacted me regarding whether or not it'll be 1 page for math, 1 page for reading. But given that you'll have such limited data on this student, really 1 page is sufficient in total. I do want you to include a small table on your report that shows the assessment data you gathered. So how many digits correct, the reading fluency rate. Again, this won't be a large table, but include as much information as you can based on your scoring. Then I also want you to take a picture and scan your scored assessments and submit those to me. Really, the objective behind this assignment is for you to practice administering CBMs. If this was a face-to-face course, you'd have much more additional practice with scoring and giving assessments. And it's very difficult in an online course to be able to see how you're going about this and how you're scoring. And so I really encourage you to read the directions, go through the training modules that are available on the Easy CBM website, which I'll go through, and really try to feel comfortable doing these CBMs. Scoring is one of the biggest difficulties for teachers when administering CBMs, not knowing how to correctly score, which can really cause some misinterpretation with the results. As far as your own interpretation of results when you're writing up the present level of performance in your 1-page document, I really do caution you not to make statements that are too solid. We really do need to interpret these results with caution, given that you're only giving 2 assessments in each area. You really don't have a full picture of this student. Now, if you're doing this on your own child or a friend you know well or a brother or sister, you may be able to add some of that other data, some more of the observational data and some of those other pieces if you feel comfortable doing so. But really what I want to see is I want to know their fluency rate, how many digits correct they're getting, and for you to really do a simple miscue analysis of these assessments. So what patterns do you notice? Are there certain types of computation problems that they're missing? Are there certain words or vowel combinations that are consistently causing difficulty? If this means you need to give another assessment to them, feel free to do that, but you are only required to give 2 to each student. When writing your data report, it's really important to try to write it in a way that gives parents and other professionals that may attend an IEP meeting the appropriate data in a way that's understandable. And so that's why I encourage you to include a table, because often that is the best way to share data with parents and other members of an IEP. So some of the common questions I noticed on the course scavenger hunt were that how do we access the CBMs? How do I find my student? And some other common questions that I noticed over and over. So I want to address some of those. First of all, the CBMs that we have access to will only go up through 8th grade. And typically, CBMs are used more commonly in those age ranges anyways. There are very few assessments or curriculum-based measurements that are designed for the high school age range. So you need to choose a student in that grade range. You must also be the one to administer the assessment. It's very easy to go into a school and to be able to pull this data, but I really want you to be able to practice administering and scoring these on your own. Whether you are a special ed major or this is your minor and you're in another field within education, administering CBMs will be a large part of what you do. The report, again, is 1 page total. It's not 1 page for reading and 1 page for math. And if you live in the area and are really struggling to find a student, I can help find someone here. If you are outside of the Oxford area or not close enough to come into town, I really suggest that you contact a friend or relative or even a local school. Most would be really excited to have you come in. If you explain to them that you're a Miami student and doing a project, that you're not going to use this data for anything else than a course assignment. Please let me know, though, if this is something that you're still struggling with. So let's take a walk through the Easy CBM website. This is a program that's designed through the University of Oregon. It is, which is one of the top research schools in special education. So these measures have some really strong technical adequacy. They're very reliable measures. When you get to the Easy CBM website, you're simply going to fill in some information to get your free account. One of the things it's going to ask you is what school you're affiliated with. You can just put Miami University. I believe you might be able to leave it blank, but you can just put Miami in, or a local school district. This will never track back to that. It's just for their own reports. They like to know what grade levels are using these programs. And once in a while, they'll email you to ask for feedback. When you get into the website, this is what the homepage will look like. So it'll talk about students, measures, reports. You'll have some account, and there's some training. I highly recommend you go through some of the training modules. What it will do is, if you look at the overview of group administration and you click on it, it will give you an opportunity then to walk through a video. Well, actually, this one's not a video. This one's just a reading, but it'll give you an opportunity to go through and check your competency with administering these things. So, oh, none of them are videos on this one. I apologize. What it will do is talk to you about, it'll give you the do's and do nots of administering them and really show you the best procedures for group administration and individual administration. The videos are really short and they're very beneficial. Again, if this was a face-to-face class that took place over the whole semester, I would have you work through using groups. So in your own time, I really do encourage you to go in and check these out, especially the special education majors that are in this course. This is really crucial that you know how to administer these prior to your capstone in student teaching. So once you feel comfortable with how to administer these, if you go into measures, it's going to give you, if you look at the top, the K through 8 grade range. So let's say I'm administering this to a 5th grader. Whether or not this student is at a 5th grade level or not, you really do want to use the grade level measure. Now, if a student is not able to read anything at the grade level or is not able to complete any of the problems at the grade level, then you could go down to the next one. But you first want to try to give them grade level material, because we're always trying to measure how they are doing in comparison to grade level peers. So when you go through here, you'll see that there are many different measures. There's a reading fluency and there's a multiple choice reading comprehension. And then under math, the math section in Easy CBM is actually quite extensive. It has math, numbers, and operations, which is very similar to your math computations. They also have a geometry and algebra probe. If you're working with an older student, I highly recommend using one of these. They're excellent probes. And they also have a math, numbers, and operations probe that you can use. If I were to choose 2 probes to use, I would choose a computation and an operations. The geometry measurement and algebra probe is beneficial for older students, but this one is much more comprehensive and gives you so much more information on the skill types that they can understand. If you look down at kindergarten, you're going to see a little bit different range. You're going to see a test of letter names, letter sounds, phoneme segmenting, and then you'll get into the word reading fluency. You'll notice at this level there's not reading comprehension, because it's not expected at this grade level that students would be reading fluently, let alone reading for comprehension. You'll also see that there's more limited types of math probes. You're looking at your numbers and operations, so your basic computations. And then when you look at geometry, it's much more focused on things such as shapes and measuring basic items, finding things that are different. This is a great probe, given that identifying shapes is a huge component within the kindergarten curriculum. Let me close that out. So I like to use 3rd grade as the best example, because it's really comprehensive of some of those early reading skills as well as some of the later skills. It does contain word sight words. It includes passage fluency, reading comprehension, and then multiple areas within math. Again, I would focus on numbers and operations and algebra if it were my decision. I'm going to let you choose based on the student you have. I do feel like these are more comprehensive. When you're ready to give the assessment, you simply go to your student copy and print it off. They tend to be about 3 pages long, 2 to 3 pages long. Prior to administering this, though, really look at the directions for administration for each one under those training videos. It will tell you the time frame that is allowed for each assessment. It will also give you tips on scoring. There are ways to enter scores for students online, and to list like a whole class that you might have in here, as well as then form a report where you can then click on your class and see how well they've been doing and everything. This is definitely meant for when you have a caseload and you're not just assessing one student. But if you do decide to do this, it does provide you with some individual scores. It gives you a list of some different types of interventions, and even will print some graphs for you. So it is a great resource when you're developing data collection for your own IEPs. And I highly recommend that if your school is not implementing CBMs when you start out in the field, because there are many schools that have not moved in this direction yet, that you use this for your own personal progress monitoring. It's a great tool to hold you accountable and to help adjust your instruction to meet individual student needs. Let me see if there's any other features. The graphing would be found in reports, which I don't have enough in here to do that yet. I just put some example data in here, but you can kind of play around with how to do that and how to list different students in here as you move through the course and into your additional field placement opportunities or student teaching. If you have any other questions about this assignment and what's expected of you, I highly recommend contacting myself, using this as a discussion forum on your blog. I really want to make this the most beneficial experience for you and also help to make you proficient in conducting curriculum-based measurements.